magic tricks. Fingers dance with quick, sharp flicks.
Eyes are locked on cardboard hues. Every move's a racing muse. Corners meet with frantic cheer. Victory's scent is drawn near. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this jigsaw town. Brains on fire, tension snaps. Hands aligned at final class. Cheers are up, the crowd's amazed. In the glow of winning race. Piece by piece we conquer all. Speed puzzlers in the hall. Eyes on target, hearts ablaze. In this rush we find our craze. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this jigsaw town.
Pieces flying left and right. Time is running out, but it's alright. Patterns form like magic tricks. Fingers dance with quick, sharp flicks.
Eyes are locked on cardboard hues.
He's not doing.
Every move's a racing muse. Corners meet with frantic cheer. Victory's scent is drawing near. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this jigsaw town. Brains on fire, tension snaps. Hands aligned at final class. Cheers are up, the crowd's amazed. In the glow of winning race. Piece by piece we conquer all. Speed puzzlers in the hall. Eyes on target, hearts ablaze. In this rush we find our craze. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this jigsaw town. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Pieces flying left and right. Time is running out, but it's alright. Patterns form like magic tricks. Fingers dance with quick, sharp flicks.
Eyes are locked on cardboard hues. Every move's a racing muse. Corners meet with frantic cheer. Victory's scent is drawing near. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this jigsaw town. Brains on fire, tension snaps. Hands aligned at final clasp. Cheers are up, the crowd's amazed. In the glow of winning race. Piece by piece we conquer all. Speed puzzlers in the hall. Eyes on target, hearts ablaze. In this rush we find our craze. Puzzle mania late at night. Feeling high on this delight. Counting seconds ticking down. Champion in this
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's competition with an unreleased puzzle by an EJJ participant. We're still waiting for a few people to join us, but I thought we could, I could start chatting with one of the co-hosts this evening. And greetings to those who are already joining us on YouTube. So hi Hannah, would you like to introduce yourself? This is your first time co-hosting.
Yes, I'm super excited. My name is Hannah Beavis. I'm in the United States in Massachusetts, and I have been an EJJ participant for a while. My background is in sports journalism, and I am firmly in the Speed Puzzling as a Sport camp. So I have been wanting to try and do some commentary for a while. And I think, Michelle, I was on the Peace Talks podcast doing some interviews during the Portland Jigsaw Masters a while ago. And reached out. And so now here I am, and I'm super, super pumped to be commentating this. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you. And when I listened to the Portland Jigsaw Masters, when I listened to the excerpt from that, one of the topics you talked about was the Olympics. And now it happens to be that you're co-hosting during, the Winter Olympics. So you came up with the idea of, let's talk about that as a theme. Should speed puzzling become an Olympic sport? Why or why not? So we have a few answers from the participants, but how about you share your view with everybody?
Yeah, my view on whether puzzling should be an Olympic sport is no. While I do think that speed puzzling is a sport, I do not think it's an Olympic sport. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that of the responses that we got, most people are either in the I don't know toward or no camp. But it just, for me, the Olympics have such a physicality to them, and seeing more niche sports like breakdancing get onto the Olympic scenes has gone poorly. And so while I think like it's a sport and it should be treated as such, I think we can have our own sort of way to run competitions like the World Championships that we have, like the World Series that's coming up this spring. Like there are already avenues in place that sort of allows it to keep its nicheness and charm. I don't know if that's quite the word I'm looking for, but putting it on a big, huge Olympic stage would change, I think, the sport of speed puzzling, I think, for the worse. So I'm perfectly content to not have it in the Olympics, although I know that's not everybody's view.
Yeah, no, I think that's yeah. I had to really ask myself what do I think about that, and I agree that speed puzzling is a sport, and we should have yeah, championships at different levels to find out who are the best and give yeah, different challenges. In regards to the Olympics, I actually had to question what are the benefits of being an Olympic sport, like what actually defines an Olympic sport. I think the main benefit is that you get a lot of sponsorship either from the government or like the Olympic Committee of your country, and you basically get paid to train. You get coaching services, mentoring, a tracksuit, you get driven around in a bus, so all these kinds of support, and of course you also get prize money if you win a medal. So those types of things would be very attractive for the speed puzzling athletes, and especially the high level ones. However, realistically, I don't think it belongs in that setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, if there was a way that, yeah, the championships could get more sponsorship or more recognition, that the prizes were higher, I think that would, of course, would be a benefit. But I don't think it's in the same league. And also regarding like the qualifications, there you really need to, yeah, be selected by your country. It's a whole different thing. I mean, in the end of it, at the end of the day, if we go to the World Series or the World Championship or another event, we're paying it ourselves. We're buying our own T-shirts. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
the main benefit of the associations is that they organize the national championships and give a lot of like support locally. But I think apart from like the winners, I don't think they're sponsoring people to attend. Yeah,
Yeah.
only the top ones are being sponsored to attend the championship. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like monetary support, I think it depends on A, how good you are, and B, what country you're in, because depending on the sport, different countries have more resources that they may or may not be able to offer different athletes. And one of the folks competing at the in the EJJ tonight mentioned, I'm not sure if they want their name shared, that it's a product based um, competition, and that it would matter what brand and what access people have to puzzles, and that we've already seen in the world championships that some people have easier access getting Robbins burgers than others, and so that impacts how you do a puzzle. And so having something where you have to have new images all the time and it can't be leaked would also, I think, impact how that sport would work. Whereas if you do, say, ice skating or track and field, it's you can train for a certain thing and it's not a physical puzzle that you're doing.
Yeah, I think that was a good point. Yeah, so that was actually Fuji. Fuji had a lot of interesting points, so hopefully we have
Yes.
time to mention them later. But I noticed Jim has joined the meeting. Um, so yeah,
Hello there.
let's find out
Hi, Jim.
which camp Jim is in. Olympic sport, speed puzzling, yay or nay?
Um, I think for it to become an Olympic sport, a lot of things would have to change. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm kind of in the camp of it could be, maybe. Um, I think that, there is precedence for things like chess to have been in the Olympics for a while. Frankly, I think it would be really fun if every Olympic cycle there was sort of a unusual sport just added to the standard roster. And I think that speed puzzling could fit in that category if it were to come around. But I've also been thinking about like what are the logistics. William Shandling, he did a great interview the other day with Rob Shields on Peace Talks, and he was talking about the logistics about having a image that is completely unknown to everybody. And there are some downhill sports where competitors know what the track looks like, or they get to walk it ahead, but they don't get to do a full run on it beforehand. So maybe that would be a route that we would take: is everybody knows what the image is, but you're not familiar. You don't necessarily know what the cut is, or you don't get to like make that kind of run. So there's a lot of things inside of that that could be interesting to play around with. I think it really comes down to what kind of speed puzzling would we want to encourage at that level, and what would we want that to look like before we can just say make speed puzzling an Olympics, an Olympic event.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, lots of interesting aspects. Yeah, so we didn't have that many answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But yes, I won't be commentating today. Jim and Hannah will be running that. So yeah, try and take some of the comments that we received from those who did answer. It is time to unwrap the puzzle. So let's see what we have today and who the artist or the creator behind the puzzle is. And who's excited to be interviewed today.
I'm excited for this, whatever it's going to be.
I've done this puzzle already, so I am excited for everyone else to see everyone else's reaction to it.
Ooh, wow. This looks really neat.
So as usual, get the wrapper and the plastic off as well. So this is by Kiran Fletcher from Ireland. Many of you know him. And he will be joining us later for an interview. And he took the photo. The image is of origami balls. I don't know if that's the correct name. You'll see a close-up of it soon. Hannah's going to be showing it. And his son, Kevin, who made the origami, will also be joining us on the interview. So we're very excited to chat with them through the live stream. Okay, when everybody is ready, they can place their puzzle back on the table. Okay. So let's do a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. And those box tops are off, the bags are opening, and everybody is launching into this EJJ 126 competition with an unreleased puzzle. This looks like it looks like a combination of a really tricky one, even though it appears straightforward. So I think we're going to see a couple of different strategies here, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit of an island build to me.
Sorry, I just have to interrupt. I just realized I forgot to turn the timer on YouTube. So YouTube is about 30 seconds later than the timer on YouTube is behind by 30 seconds. So now it says 15 seconds. It's actually like 45. Sorry. Go ahead, Hannah.
We will keep that in mind when we are talking about times. So this is the image. I think this is the correct orientation of the puzzle. They are origami balls. The puzzle itself is called the Origami, and this is as Michelle said, a Speedpuzzle, an EJJ original. So this was a tricky one for me. This took a longer time for me to do. It's easy to sort out. Easy is a strong word. It's possible to sort out the different origami structures, but putting them together was quite difficult for me. So I'm interested to see how everybody does.
I can totally see what you mean with that, Hannah. Like it's the real interesting case where you have some colors that are clustered all together, like that big ball of yellow with that red in the middle, or like the blue green paper that's all folded on itself in kind of this kaleidoscope look. So you could sort it out that way, but then once you're inside of that, it's going to be real tricky to sort of figure out how to operate around it. The edge doesn't look particularly straightforward, but I think because there's a lot of color differentials around the corners, like you have the yellow corner, you have the blue green, and then you have the orange. We'll see some people start to work it out that way, but I think the trickiest one to work out here is going to be that ball in the upper right hand corner that has the really dark blue and a little bit of orange in it. That's going to be tricky for folks.
Yeah, and that's one of the largest ones too. The way that I did this one was, is the color replicated in any other spot in the puzzle? So like starting with this blue and green one, that's pretty by itself. The primary colors are pretty distinct here. This one up here has quite a distinct pattern. So you could pull that out easily too, and also by size. And this one is both the darkest, it has colors that are replicated in this image as well, and it's also one of the largest ones. So that was where I finished. And I expect we'll see a lot of our competitors finish there too.
Indeed. And we're coming up on the 3-minute line here, and we can see that we have in the upper left-hand corner, Amber Greaves, we have Anna Roos Everts, Arcadius Wozniak, and then in the lower middle, we have Cameron McBreth, Carlos Dura, and Carolyn Shoniez. And I apologize for butchering the names, folks, but everybody's off to a really, really good start here. You can see that there's some decent sorting going on. I see a lot of edge pulling early on, which I know a good number of puzzlers tend to start off with whenever they're not 100% sure what they want to target early.
And Michelle just put in the group chat that there is no real right or wrong way to do this puzzle, because it's not an abstract puzzle, but it is in that it's not a scene, so there's not a true top and a true bottom, and you can already see Anna Roos and Carolyn have their puzzles standing up like a portrait instead of like a landscape side to side. So I think we're going to see a lot of people doing this puzzle differently in terms of how they are like facing it on their table.
Absolutely. You know, it's fun whenever there's not true orientation on the image. And so it makes our lives a little more difficult sometimes, because we have to we have to guess a little bit more as to what people's setups and organizations are looking like. But right out the gate here, you can see that several of these competitors, they're using a little bit of a either full adjusted side sort to their pile. So like Amber Greaves, you can see that she has put her entire pile over onto the right hand side and is pulling things over towards her left. Cameron is doing a similar thing, only opposite, where it's on his left hand side and the build field is going to be towards the right. And if you look at Arcadius up there, he has a lot of the pile over to the left hand side, but it's curling up and over. We call that sometimes a little bit of a 7 or an L setup. And it makes it where you have a little bit more easy access. And if your table has restricted space, a lot of times you'll go that route in order to make sure that you can still have access to pieces while not ending up with a split pile. And Anna Roos is doing a really heavy sort up front. I think all those edges are pulled, and it looks like they're going for that blue-green kaleidoscope in the corner.
Looks like Carlos was doing a pretty intense sort too. That's what I'm sort of most interested in. I think most people are probably going to pull the edge first, although I don't know that a lot of people will do the edge first, just to have it out of the way so that they can see more of the pieces. But this is a very sortable puzzle, and I think that is a benefit here, is that you can take the time up front to sort all of your pieces out, and then you can sort of you have ready-made projects that you can just bang out as fast as you can. This is going to be a lot of trial and error, I think. Like there's a little bit you can see by color, like the different shades of colors might go together, but because there's so much folding and intricacies in each origami puzzle ball, it is difficult to figure out like what intersects. You're going to need to look at the image for some of them, and then or just do your best and try and stick them in there as fast as you can.
Well, and we can see here in the upper left-hand corner, Christina Rora, and then David, I think that's Corby, followed by Eileen Verhelst, Elodie Serrano, Franziska Trebar, and Freya Bremborg, all off to a great start here as we're getting ready to cross about 6 minutes and 40 seconds here. And we can see some of those borders coming together. I really like what Freya's doing here, where you can see that the border pieces are in the middle of her build field, and then she's pulling those pieces out to the edges where they're going to belong, rather than trying to shuffle them around a whole lot. And you can see that right next to her in the lower middle there, Francisca, doing a little bit of doing a similar tactic. And I think that reduces the number of touches, because you can really deliver those pieces exactly where they're going to go very rapidly.
We're seeing a lot of people focus on building the edge first. It gives them time to get used to the image too, as you're putting together I believe each origami structure touches the edge. So as you're putting those pieces together, you're getting an idea of what the other pieces might look like to help build that. And it's also giving you an idea of how big this puzzle is going to be. It does look like Eileen is starting not with the edge, but with that blue-green ball, which is also where I started first. Those colors are very distinct. They're easy to pull. You can also, pulling a lot of the blues and greens, some of them aren't going to go in that ball, but they're going to go in the more smaller multicolor ball in the middle that has red and yellow and green and black and blue. So you can also sort of sort those out as you're trying to put that together. So a couple different
Yeah, one of the things that you can run into with a puzzle like this is you can end up over sorting a little bit without having the amount of accuracy that really gives you the advantage of a sort. And I think because there's a little bit of overlap of the blues and greens between that lower corner, that middle, and even some blues that pop up in that spiky yellow blue near the midpoint. You can end up with a lot of extra touches. So sometimes even zooming in beyond just, I'm going to get that teal or green, just going for just green or just teal can save you a little bit of juice down the line and make it where you have more footholds to grab into.
Definitely.
But look at Franzia, just about done with the border as we're crossing the 8-minute and 40-second line. Very, very well done.
Yeah, we're getting close to the 10-minute mark here. So most folks should have the flip done and are starting on their first project, whether that be the edge or one of the structures inside. And this is a beautiful puzzle, but oh my gosh, when I opened it and first thought, wow, this is gorgeous. Second thought, oh no, what? How am I gonna tackle this one? It's a tricky one. I don't think we're gonna see any sub 30 times. Maybe I'm wrong. Some of our top speed puzzlers are in here. Kristen, Christian, Kati. So we could, but I think I'm predicting a 35 to 40-minute finish. That's my take.
We'll certainly see. I've learned to never bet against speed puzzlers, especially whenever there's an exciting new image on the line. And this one by Ciaran Fletcher is absolutely stunning. On the screen here, we have Fruji Willem in the upper left-hand corner, followed by Inga S, then Inga Sana, and then in the lower left, we have Inka Koshin, Irene Rodriguez, and Jagoda Kubiak. You go to one of the Polish powerhouse puzzlers, and you can totally see why. Yagoda has the entire border worked out, and you can see that she's also sorted some of those colors. I think that spiky yellow and blue is above her table closest to us right now, and she's going to start grinding in on that. And this is going to be really interesting to see how she gets on from here. It looks like she's working out of the build field for some of those chunks, and then airdropping into the middle rather than reaching over top. And now she's bringing those spiky pieces inside. So shifting those strategies as you move along is a really important part of being a puzzler.
And you can see that she's sorted out a lot of her pieces ahead of time. And not only has she sorted them out, but she has sorted them, if the orientation is the same way that I did it, so we can't quite see how her box is, but it is a landscape, is sorted where that origami ball will be in the puzzle so that she doesn't have to move her hands very far to actually put the pieces into the puzzle. So she's got her little piles exactly where they need to go, and then she can just move wherever in the puzzle she needs to be and start working on them there.
Absolutely, and these puzzlers are doing a fantastic job. I think Fruji actually answered the question about should speed puzzling be in the Olympics. And Fruji says, I very firmly believe that speed puzzling should not be an Olympic sport. The concern is that speed puzzling is a product-based sport, and I think this is what you were mentioning, is that the puzzles have to be provided by a brand, and that can create bias. Which brand is good to provide puzzles, that sort of thing. I'm generally against the Olympics because of its devastating effects on the economy and environment of a hosting country. That's a really valid and important point. A lot of times the Olympics show up, and the host countries, or just the host cities, end up footing the bill and running into a lot of issues, and that gets run over. Then the specialized infrastructure left behind is abandoned. Yeah, that's all reasonable criticisms, and important aspects if thinking about should speed puzzling be in the Olympics. Is, do we want to be part of that particular legacy as well?
Yeah, Fruji had a lot of really strong points in her submission, so I agree. I think wholeheartedly with all of them. Infrastructure, being a product-based sport, and rules and regulations around what kind of speed puzzling would be at the Olympics. Because right now there are also so many different kinds of speed puzzling. We do a lot of 500-piece puzzles, but you could also do 1,000. There are relays, there are teams, there are different types of relays, there are different sizes of puzzles. So standardizing that is, I think, limiting. Having the option of using different brands and different amounts of pieces makes it more exciting.
We can see some new puzzlers popping up on the screen here. We have Jasmine Lambert from the US in the upper left-hand corner. followed by Yara, Kati in the upper right, Kirsten Glazer in the lower left-hand corner, followed by Kinga W, and then former world champion Kristen Tuv in the lower right-hand corner.
It looks like Kati has got that entire blue and green ball done in the corner and has also built the border adjacent to that around it and is now working on the multicolor ball in the middle. Kristen, same thing, has a little bit more of the border done than Kati. It looks like she has the entire border in place and is working on that blue and green ball. So pretty close. And then Yata as well, making some really good progress on that blue and green ball in the corner. I think right now it looks like Kristen has an edge of the players who are on screen. But it is still pretty close. And this is a marathon, not a sprint, especially as we get towards the more complicated origami structures towards the end of this puzzle.
Well, and it's interesting. Kati is kind of known for not wanting to do the border at all, and really is fantastic at making these islands and branching out. And you could see, I was kind of watching her off to the side. She started from the center of that origami ball and then sunbursted out from it. Kristen Tuv in the lower right-hand corner. I usually don't see her doing the border early on, and usually she makes a lot of those islands and then does some magical pick and placing after doing a big sort. And she's doing an excellent job getting that full border worked out. But look over on the left-hand corner of the screen here with Jasmine Lambert and Kirsten Glazer. They have the full border done, and they've worked their way down into the middle from that spiky yellow and blue ball. I think that's a great tactic because that is such a smaller component of the overall puzzle that it can give you a little bit of a stronger foothold for later parts of the puzzle, and also lowers the noise in the pile. We were talking earlier about getting a good sort of those blues and greens early on. Getting those out whenever it's really easy to tell is super important, and is going to give you a good run as we cross the 15-minute line here.
Yeah, just past the 15-minute mark. That even if you're not pulling out all of the blues, like if you're not just pulling the blues out willy-nilly, the pattern on that blue and yellow spiky origami structure up on the top is pretty distinct. It didn't stand out as much as I thought it would, which was surprising, but if you are looking for it, it's easy to pull those pieces. And you're right, Jim, it is so small. It's an easy win to knock that out early and get it out of the way and have less noise in your field and be able to start pulling other pieces for other projects. I'm a little surprised that we're not seeing that one first for some of the faster puzzlers, but again, when I was dumping out the pieces and flipping them the other day, I was like, wow, that's not as easy to find as I thought. So the blue and green definitely stand out more when you're trying to pull.
Yeah, sometimes it comes down to do your eyes naturally track towards texture, or is it more color based? If you see textures really well, that spiky yellow blue ball is going to jump out at you and say, "Pick me, pick me." And we can see a couple of puzzlers working their ways through that as we get some new folks on the screen. We could see Christian in the upper left hand corner, followed by Laura G. Lenka in the upper right-hand corner, Linda Anderson in the lower left, followed by Lene S. and Lisa N. in the lower right-hand corner as we're getting ready to cross the 16-minute and 30-second line.
Yeah, and Michelle giving us some intel of the 50+ club who did this yesterday as a flex puzzle, that most participants last night started with a small blue and yellow spiky ball, the only ball with patterned paper. All of the rest are solid colors. So it is something that you can pull out if you're looking for that texture as opposed to the color. That will stand out pretty strongly. And again, it's a smaller project to start with, and then you can go from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was keeping an eye on Christian because he's one of the strongest puzzlers in the world, and he uses all of the available table space to his advantage. He spreads those pieces out wide and does the sorting as he goes to make these little micro advantages as he operates. You can see that he has that full border just about done. He worked down into that spiky yellow blue ball, and he has a lot of the yellows and that the blue greens all delivered to about the side of the puzzle with where he wants to work on it. So he's not going to have as much travel time once he starts getting cooking on those areas. And right now he's finishing up that center origami ball for lack of better term, it's kind of this Rubik's cube color of these bright reds and reds, yellows, and blues that all intertwine with each other. And he's finishing that up, and I think that's going to make it where once he's done with the blue green, they're going to be able to really close the gap between those two pretty quickly.
Yeah, Christian has basically everything sorted at this point. And again, in the area of the puzzle where he's going to be able to be putting those pieces in, it's so interesting seeing how spread out his table is. And then you look at Yagoda, who's right beneath him, and it's a very, very neat. All the pieces are on one side, and nothing that is not put together is in the middle of the puzzle. She is very deliberate about what she's bringing in and what she's not.
But check out Lenka's progress over here. Has that full border cooked, and that blue green origami ball completely finished, and the center ball. That is such a clean field early on that sometimes it can make it where you have an easier time looking at what you want to work on next. She is going to have to make a choice here about what pole to work on next, and that's where we're going to see, does this decision pay off to keep the cleaner field? Oh, and now with that close-up on Christian's board, we can see that he's decided to go for doing the outlines of some of those origami balls rather than doing an entire one in one shot. I love that decision. Outlines often are an easier pull and an easier sort than you would expect because it is one color contrasted with another, and so you have fewer pieces to try to work through as you target an area.
I was surprised at how much doing the outline helped. I tended to bounce back and forth between them. I'm not an elite speed puzzler, so I was working as fast as my brain could go. But the background is also pretty gradiented. So if you look at a piece that has some of an origami ball and the background on it, you can have an idea of where it goes in the puzzle based on whether it's more white or yellow. So that was actually a huge help. And not just for those outline pieces, but also the pieces that are exclusively backgrounds. Those were much easier to go in once you had sort of the general skeleton of the puzzle put together.
Absolutely. On screen now, we have Magdalene G, Mari Black in the upper middle. In the upper right, Maria R. In the lower left-hand corner, Maria Magdalena Robrek. In the lower middle, Mariana Cruz Sanchez. And in the lower right, we have Meineke Butzverhoff.
Yeah, lots of different strategies here. Some edges, couple people with the edge entirely done. Some people like Magdalene focusing on just individual origami balls. Meineke doing looks like a pretty decent sort. Has that small patterned ball mostly done and is working on the middle ball and has moved on to the blue and green, I think, in the corner.
I always appreciate a panicked wave from puzzlers as they get going. We're excited for you to go. It's really cool to see how Meineke pulled those edges and then didn't work on them. She's doing a great job getting that middle worked out, and you can see some of that branching out from the spiky ball into that center tetrahedron. Really, really well done here. And I think she's taking a similar tactic that former world champion Alejandro Clemente Leon talks about, of pulling the edges, and then when you don't know what to do, working on that a little bit rather than making that the default. But you can see that everybody's making great progress here as we're coming over the 21-minute line. Mari Black has that full border built, is finishing up that blue-green ball down there, has the spiky ball and the middle center, and I think she's done a little bit of progress on the red center in that upper in that yellow ball that's on the upper left-hand corner, and is also doing the outlines of some of those origami balls.
Everybody on screen right now is really making quite a bit of progress, and I should expect nothing less from the sub 50 club. These are all top puzzlers who, even on a tricky puzzle like this, is not going to let that phase them.
It's really exciting to see the different methodologies. I like how Maria in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that she's gotten that top border built out and that blue-green ball early on already locked in. We're coming across the 22-minute and 30-second line here as Magdalena finishes that lower left-hand ball, the center, and the spiky ball, but doesn't have a full edge complete here. And so that's where the exact placement can shuffle around a little bit. Everybody's doing a great job, and I have no doubt that at a certain point, fatigue is going to set in. A lot of these pieces look very similar within each region, so being able to adjust your eyes to the next thing that you're going to work on is really, really important as you come into the late half of this puzzle.
We're starting to move out of the blue and green and pattern sections and into the warm colors, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the blacks, like where it could be in any number of puzzles. And that yellow puzzle in the corner, the yellow pieces are easy to pull, but that sort of red, I guess it's a whale section in the middle, was one of the last things I ended up doing because those red pieces could go on the origami in the far corner. So it was trickier than I thought to distinguish those from the other ones.
That's an absolutely great call to be able to make that adjustment and not dive into trying to do a target that's super spread across the entire puzzle. The more concentrated you can be, usually the more success that you're going to have overall.
And just as I say that, Nina W on the bottom left of the screen, that's one of the first things that's done. I can see that sort of red distinct piece because you can see if there's red with yellow, then that's probably going to be that little whale outline. And so that's done, which is astonishing.
True that. I might need you to call up the next names because my YouTube is lagging a little bit here, Hannah.
All right,
Sorry.
I got you. We've got Mona. And let me pull up real quick so that I can see where they are from. All right, we've got Mona from Germany. We've got Nadia from Indonesia. We've got Nikki T from Germany. In the bottom left, Nina W from Austria with that whale done. We've got Olivia P from Poland and Patrick from Switzerland. Lots of borders done here. Lots of folks with that blue done. Actually, Mona up in the upper left focused on the pattern color, the middle origami tetrahedron. I like that word, Jim. I'm going to try and use that instead of origami balls. Much more interesting. I was working on that blue-green piece now. Most folks have the edge done at this point. Although, however, they've ended up doing those, the order in which they did those edges is up to each individual participant. I think we've lost Jim. Hopefully we'll get him back soon, but I will keep on moving along. We're right around just past the 25-minute mark now. And we're in the M's and the N's and the O's and the P's for our names. Anybody else in the chat who's done this puzzle before? Anything that you were surprised with or interested in as you were putting it together? We've also seen quite a range of time guesses. Michelle posted in the chat that when she did this, her time was an hour, 8 minutes, and 58 seconds. We're seeing guesses from maybe in the 35s. Scroll up and see what some other folks have said.
There we go. Sorry about that, folks. I had a
Back.
internet thing. Yeah, there we go. We're back and online. And look at how much progress everybody made. You know, I look away for all of 30 seconds, and these speed puzzlers are just going to town. Olivia P in the lower middle there, flying through this puzzle. You can see that those early discernible sorts of the blue-green, that center tetrahedron, and the spiky blue-yellow are all worked out, and now she's starting to get the outline of that big yellow one and the orange blot in the middle. I love it whenever puzzlers work both from the outside and the inside, not getting locked into just one target. It's really, really great puzzling to be able to make those adjustments quickly.
Our next group, Jim, I'll take if you don't mind.
Go for it.
All right. We've got Rachel from the United Kingdom. We've got Robert from Sweden, Rose from the United States, Sarka from the Czech Republic, Saskia from Germany, and Smilia from Sweden. As Jim did, I apologize for any pronunciations. It is not my forte.
I will say, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna comment on Rachel up in the upper left corner, working on that black piece, which was what I finished on. But I do think if I were to do this again, I might do it sooner because it is the largest one, but it is one of those three sort of ones that you can pull. You can pull the yellow pieces all by itself, but the black is distinct. There's a couple of sort of shadowy sections in one of the bottom origami balls, but it is pretty distinct. It is something that you can pull, and that orange sort of star in the middle is a small sections that you can put together that sort of gives you a structure to sunburst off of.
Indeed, and what I've been watching Rachel's screen the whole time. Rather than doing an outline in any way, Rachel really was methodical about doing each one of those origami balls individually before even working on linking them together. So she pulled out that blue-green one early, sunk it. Pulled out the yellow-blue spike ball, sunk it, and just was very, very specific on working on each one individually rather than trying to place it. And now you can see that strategy paying off a little bit here, where she has the outlines of everything working and flying right now.
And that's a real skill, because if you can pull all the pieces of a project and complete that project, then you don't have any pieces hanging around that might get confused or busy up your field. You can just have a pile, work through it, and then immediately go to your next pull. So that is quite a skill to be able to fit every piece in that you pull.
I think we've almost made it through the entire list here. We can see some of our leaders: Kristen, Kati, and Hannah L. But in the lower right, we can now see Victor Karchak. I apologize for butchering your last name, sir. But he is on screen as well. Victor flying through this puzzle. He has almost the entire right half of that puzzle, or everything that's not the big red and dark origami balls already worked out. He is doing such a fantastic job here, and you can see it's almost a little bit of the opposite of what Kati has, where Kati has done the diagonal across and has fill in on opposite corners, and Victor has just that left-hand side that he needs to.
Yeah, both Kati and Victor have things connected to the edge, but you're right, in completely different ways. It looks like Victor has separated out the sort of red origami ball at the bottom, and he's working, or at least he has it for when he wants to tackle it. It looks like he might be working on some of the in-between pieces, any of those little pieces that have tiny little bits of the other origami balls that he can connect. And is trying to decide which origami ball he wants to tackle next. Kati's pretty clearly got that big yellow one left and the big black, the red and the pink one in the other corner that she's got left to do.
But look at Yagoda, not too far behind. This is going to be a really, really fantastic race coming into the close here between these fantastic puzzlers. We can see that Yagoda has the centers of those two origami balls left. I'm trying to get a closer look at what the image is. The orange one is very, very bright, scattered, but there is some discernment between the brighter orange and the darker orange that is sitting on there. So she is flying through that, as well as Christian. Just wrap that up so quickly. We know Christian does a fantastic job on those landscape puzzlers. So any sort of color differential, he just knows how to crush instinctively as he moves on to that very large orange and dark blue remainer.
We've got about 31 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock, and I think Christian's got the lead here. Everyone else has basically two origami balls left to do, and Christian's just got that black and orange one up in the upper right corner that he's working on. Upper whatever corner, depending on how you've oriented this puzzle. But if he can solve that one pretty quickly, if he can figure out how to build that in a way that works for him, although I will say Kati is absolutely ripping through that red and pink one in the corner, and the other one that she's got to do, the yellow pieces, is smaller than the one that Christian is working. So if she can get that red and pink one done sooner, she might be able to catch up with him.
It's going to be a nail biter. At this point, you have to start resorting a little bit to shape work, where you look at what the shape of the piece is and try to work your way inside. We sometimes call it boxing it in, where you have the outline of the thing you want to work on, and so you start figuring out how to fill it in towards the center, the inverse of a sunburst, if you will. And Christian is doing a great job. I love how you can see he tries a piece in a couple different spots, and if he's not sure, he just tosses it off to the side, doesn't worry about it. Or he tries it in several different places very, very rapidly. A lot of puzzlers, they'll try a piece in one spot and then give up and set it down. that's sometimes a wasted bit of movement, but he is just chewing through this so quickly. We can see Kristen Tuve in the lower right-hand corner doing an excellent job here. She has that full outline and now has the two opposite corners of the bright yellow and that orange origami ball remaining, similar to Kati, but I think Kati has the edge here.
Yeah, I think Kati's just ahead of Kristen. I think Christian still has the advantage. He's also got his pieces so close to where that hole is in his puzzle, so he barely has to move his hands at all when he picks up a piece and when he goes and sinks it into the puzzle. Kati, now that she's finished that red and pink one, all her pieces are on the same side that she's going to, but when she was working on that red and pink one, she had to go all the way across the puzzle, and you can see her now rotating the puzzle so that she can actually reach it. So that's a lot. That's going to help her a lot as she's got everything right next to her too. Is this going to be close? I think Christian had the edge, but again, this one is so much smaller and I think less complicated than the one that Christian is. We're just past the 33-minute mark. We might get a sub 35. I wouldn't bet against either of these puzzlers.
I have a good feeling that we're going to be able to see that. There's not a lot of pieces left that Christian has. Going into this close, Victor is also now operating on that orange and blue origami ball. He doesn't have the full outline of it yet, but he is working on little chunks of it on the inside. Sometimes that can play out really, really well for him, but it's also a case if you can end up with a blocked box where if that spot isn't placed exactly where it needs to be, if it's not DR'd just right, it can clog the image and cause some slowdowns. But Christian has locked in most of that ball, and now has maybe about 15 or 20 pieces left. I think they're sitting on top of the puzzle right now.
Can I just say, pet peeve for somebody who's watching? It's like, oh wow, he doesn't have any pieces left on the table. They're hiding on his puzzle.
Yeah.
Which
it's a trap. But look at Yagoda. I really like Yagoda's strat here, going up through the middle of that ball. Christian getting those last couple of pieces in. Is he going to be able to lock up this EJJ 126? There it is. He's just got to hit the timer. I think he did it.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Christian. Well done. And Kati's going to be right behind him. I think we might get two sub. I forgot that we have a delay. Kati's going to be quite close to 35 minutes. I think is going to be our second place.
Yeah, we're coming up on 35 right now, and I think Kati is about 6 or 7 pieces out. She's going to be able to get those in, and this is a really impressive time on an unreleased photo puzzle. Photo puzzles very tricky. There's Kati's time. Congratulations, very, very well done.
Well done, Kati. Well done, Christian. And now we've got Victor still working on that black and orange one up in the corner. We've got Jagoda also working on that one. I think Yagoda's got the edge.
Might be. I think Yagoda's being a little more methodical, and because Yagoda's bringing the pieces from the outside in, there's not any confusion within the field. This is also the kind of image where some puzzlers, I think I saw Rachel working on this. You can work on a chunk of it out of field and then drop that whole slice inside. But it's going to be really, really difficult for Victor to catch up here. You can see that he's working that star outline, but Yagoda is at the point where she only needs to use the shape of the piece now in order to finish this up. She doesn't necessarily have to do a lot of color recognition in order to get anything in. But I think there's maybe about 7 pieces sitting on top of the puzzle itself. So we're, even though there's nothing on the outside except for one piece, she's going to have to find where the rest of those are sitting.
Yeah, Yagoda's got that structure already built in place for her, so she's able to build off that much more easily. And if she can figure out how those orange star pieces connect, I think that will also be really helpful for her. Victor is he's doing the star first. That's sort of how I expected a lot of folks to do it, but a lot of people are doing that outside in method where they're building the edge first and then working in from there.
Yeah, and it's tricky to figure out which one to do when, because both are totally viable, and it's a matter of what does your eye see and what is the fastest for you in that moment. Sometimes outside in is best, sometimes inside out is best. And in this case, we can see a little bit of shifting of both, but I think Yagoda is going to be able to get these last 5 or 6 pieces in here. You can see that she's using her right hand to feed over to her left to drop those ones in. She's running for the buzzer. She hits it. Congratulations, Yagoda.
Yeah.
Very, very well done. And we might have a Polish, well, I guess we won't have a Polish sweep because Kati took second place earlier, but we are going to have a lot of Polish puzzlers in the top of the field here as we continue on in EJJ 126.
Although that's not a surprise. There are quite a few very speedy Polish puzzlers. And it's nice to see them have a good race today. So
You
that's
can see in
another.
the
Go
I
ahead,
was going
Jim.
to say we can see in the lower middle here, Inga S coming in on the close has two of those origami balls remaining. Victor closing up. I think Kristen Tube is also being able really close to wrapping this up. Has maybe about 25 pieces of that yellow origami ball left. I think she's really trying to do the darkest parts of that yellow and then the brightest, alternating between which end of the gradient she wants to finish up here. Coming into the close, are we going to be able to see a few more people sneak this in under the 39-minute line?
I think we probably can. I'm quite surprised that we've seen a couple of the top puzzlers now finish on that yellow ball. It is quite distinct to pull, but it is one of the only balls that's quite similar. There's no sort of distinctions that you can work off. And we do have our fourth place finisher. Yep, Kristen has finished. So congratulations,
Congratulations,
Kristen.
Kristen. Very, very well done. You know, the photo puzzles tend to be difficult for a lot of puzzlers for a whole host of reasons. Sometimes the perspective is a little odd. Sometimes the way that the camera caught the light, it can be a really, really beautiful image, and it can be difficult to puzzle. But I think this is one that just fits the bill both ways. I think Kiran did a great job here with this particular image. And we see Lenka coming into the close, finishing up that orange and dark blue puzzle, getting that last piece in. She hits the timer. Congratulations, Lenka.
We've got Victor, who snuck in there in fifth place to round out our top five, and Lenka in sixth with a 39.09. So we've still got 50 seconds left for anybody to get a sub 40 on this one. And to your point, Jim, though this is a photograph puzzle, it didn't feel like a lot of photograph images. It felt more like an abstract puzzle because so much of it is color. It is a photograph, but it is such a bright and design focused puzzle that it really felt more like not like a cartoony or anything, but it was so color and texture focused.
Absolutely. We can see that Rachel Chambers getting ready to come into the close. She's also working on that yellow part of that yellow origami ball. And Hannah L in the corner here in the upper right hand corner, closing it out there. Well, I think Hannah L has a little bit of an edge here because there's a lot more spread out through the middle, so she can do more shape work to finish that up. Whereas Rachel is going to have to fill that gradient in a little more strongly, even though they have about the same number of pieces. I think Hannah L is going to have an edge here unless she slows down physically. But Hannah L has such a fantastic close on these kinds of puzzles.
And Hannah's also got all her yellow pieces on that tray right in front of her, so she does not have to go very far. It's right in front of her. She can move that as close as she needs to the empty spaces that she's trying to fill. So that's going to give her some precious seconds as well as she tries to get in this top 10 here.
Yeah, it's so difficult, and this is where sorting can be a big advantage, and it can also slow you down a little bit. If you're not accurate with that sort, with where you set up those cells early on, you can cost yourself extra travel time in the late game, or you could also just do a quick sweep to bring everything over. It kind of there's always this trade-off of how many pieces does it take before you start losing time in the transition. Right? If you're really, really accurate, you may not lose all that much by traveling a little bit more because you're being very, very precise. But sometimes that extra distance costs you. But Hannah L closing this out, I think she's down to the last 5 pieces or so, getting those last ones in. Come on, there's only 3 left. Are you going to be able to keep it under the next timeline? She sinks it. She hits the buzzer.
Oh, we're waiting for the verification.
Congratulations.
Yes. Well done, Hannah. 41.29 officially. Well done.
Very, very, very well done.
We've got 3 spots left in our top 10. We're around the 42-minute mark, just under 42 right now.
We see Rachel Chambers getting ready to come into the close here as well, being very methodical, working that gradient from the bottom and the top, getting the darkest darks and the lightest lights to already build in from what she has. And it's just flying at this point. There's no more uncertainty. Anything she picks up can go in, and she's going to be able to close this out very, very quickly here. I love that ending. Congratulations, Rachel Chambers.
Well done. Well done. Good job, Rachel. Yeah, I at this point we're just this is a puzzle where you can do it in different orders, but it is ultimately a project-based puzzle. Like you're pulling pieces from whatever you're trying to work on, and you're just trying to knock out each ball one at a time. All
Absolutely.
right.
Well, and I really like Kieran's image here because it has a little bit of everything. It has some of these origami balls that have a lot of texture. It has some that are very color. It has some that work on gradients. It has some that are just a hodgepodge of you have to get through it. And the spacing on this is so slow. I love this image. Sorry, I'm fangirling a little bit. I think this is a spectacular puzzle that asks a lot from our puzzlers here in the field as to how to approach this and how to shift gears from section to section in order to stay successful.
Yeah, this is one where you can get very cerebral about how you want to approach it. Do you do the edge first? Do you not? Do you work on the outside of the origami balls first, or do you not? Is there an order in which you do the colors? Do you spend a lot of time sorting? I think generally the larger the puzzle, the better a sort is. But with a 500, it could really go either way, whether you take the time up front to put everything into the piles that you think it's going to go, or if you're just pulling projects one at a time. And
Mhm.
especially for those speedier puzzlers, I think they're sort of generally more of a I'm going to pull whatever I'm working on and not waste time sorting it out early. But it does depend on the puzzler. It varies.
And Franzi just hit the buzzer under the deadline. Congratulations, Franzi, rounding out position 9. And I think Inga S is also coming into the close. It looks like she's going to be able to do mostly shape work here to close that out, but it's so difficult at this point in the game. You know, after you've been puzzling for 30 minutes, your eyes start to glaze over. Can you change those lenses fast enough in order to make sure that you're still making progress at pace? These puzzlers are some of the best in the world here, and they are making this look easy. I want to remind everybody, it is absolutely not easy to do a puzzle like this.
Yeah, this is where the endurance starts to come into play. Everyone's been puzzling very frantically for about 45 minutes now. It's going to start getting hard. You're going to start looking at the pieces and everything's going to start running together. So staying strong and wanting to push through to the end is going to be key here as everybody starts to wrap up and get closer to the end. I agree. Super macho. These top puzzlers are scarily good.
And Inga hits done. Make sure to hit done on the app there, Inga, so we can get your accurate time worked in there. Doing a great job. We have so many puzzlers that are coming into the close here. We can see Veronica finishing up in that yellow area. Eileen working on the orange blue. Olivia P getting that yellow the yellow origami ball finished up, trying to figure out how to approach it at this point. With the lighting, you may not be able to see certain edges of those colors. Is it going to be real bright or real dark? We can see Lene working on that orange dark ball. And I really like how you've seen so many of these puzzlers plant that really bright orange star in there and then use that as an outline. It really, the trap is, can you get the orientation correct in order to make progress and use it as an anchor rather than a point that's going to cause strife, getting the rotations a little off. You can see in the lower right, Mari Black coming into the close here as well, finishing up very, very quickly. I think Olivia is going to have a little bit of an edge here. I think Olivia is going to be able to wrap up just ahead of her, but this is a really, really fantastic puzzling by everyone involved. And yes, Olivia fits the buzzer.
Awesome job, everybody, as they're pushing really hard to finish. It sounds like we're going to get an interview with Kati, so we'll see when we can get her up on screen. And until then, we'll just keep commenting on everybody finishing. We've got Mari working on that yellow in the corner. We've got Lena working on the black.
And Veronica hits the buzzer as well. Congratulations, Veronica.
Kati is here and ready to be put on screen. Looks like most folks are finishing with that yellow or the black ball. That seems to be it's sort of up in the air which one you finish with. Kati, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Hi. Congratulations on your finish.
Thank you very much.
How are you trying to approach this puzzle?
I recently learned that I'm better doing puzzles horizontally than vertically. So I decided when I saw the box, it's not a fixed orientation. So I decided to do it vertically. Like, yeah, I just said it the wrong way around, but I'm better at doing it this way.
Yeah.
And then I thought about like which ball would be the easiest to pull. So how would I place it? And it made sense to me to put the section that I would work on first in the top left corner because I have my pieces all on the right side. Yeah, so that's what my initial thoughts were. Yeah, and then I started with pulling the green and turquoise pieces, and then just went ball by ball or more or less color by color because for also the brown ball, it's also very orangey. So more or less color by color than balls. Yeah.
Hmm. It also looked like you were doing the edge sort of as you were doing each individual ball. Is that how
Yeah.
you did the entire puzzle?
Yeah, I think so. It's also like how I always work with the edge. Just when I work on a section and it feels like it makes sense to put together the edge, then I do it and not intentionally like ahead of everything else or something like that.
Did you notice as you were you working from the inside out of each project, or were you sort of doing the edge first and then working in, or did it vary?
I think for the first ball, I tried to do it from the inside out, but then I realized that it's not too easy. So I thought it makes sense to put together the edge first. And then also for all of the other balls, I continued starting with the outsides first. And especially for the two brown and orange balls that were on the bottom for me, I started to put in the background pieces, these very light grays. And that helped a lot. Also for like, you see more of these still light shades on the pieces of the brown ball than you would imagine because you think it's pretty big, but still there are many pieces that have the background on it. And I think that's why I managed to get through the brown ball okay-ish because I think it's actually very hard to put together because it's so dark and not very distinct.
And it's quite large too, but you're right. I did this puzzle yesterday and noticed that it is easier to find the edge pieces in there because you can see through it easily. And so if you can pick out the backgrounds and because of the gradient, you can sort of see where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Jim,
also what I like about the puzzle, that
Go
you
ahead.
have like a gradient in the background with the yellow on top and also the bluish background on the bottom. So that was very okay to put together.
Hmm.
It's so cool that you're able to see not only what the background is, but what the foreground is. How long does it take your brain to decide which thing you're going to look at whenever you start assembling?
I think it's like it's a gut decision. Like I don't. I think for the mainly I try to look at the foreground, but only when I really realize that it doesn't work or it's too hard this way, then I try to look at the background. Yeah, that's when I remember like the ocean whimsy puzzle, like a few years ago. I think many puzzlers actually followed the background, but I didn't, and I think that's like this puzzle is a good example on how my brain works with background foreground because I usually tend to see the foreground.
Hmm.
It's so cool that you're mentioning that and like learning new ways that other puzzlers are seeing things
Yeah.
and kind of adapting that. Was it is it difficult for you to like approach that? Like I'm a very cerebral person. I think from the brain more than from my gut. So how did
Mm.
you train your gut to feel that transition and what to focus on?
I think I didn't explicitly like have to train my gut because I just need to notice that it doesn't work like this, and then I have to have like other alternatives in my head that I learned from the other puzzles, for example. So yeah, I just know how to approach things differently now if it doesn't work.
This is a puzzle I think you have to be able to pivot from. Like you said, when you started working from the inside out and realized that that wasn't going to be an effective strategy, to be able to say, okay, now I need to work it a different way and go from outside
Yeah.
in.
But also, I feel like for each ball, it was kind of different because you could do the yellow one like following the lighter shades rather than the oranges, and for the brown one, it was more of a pick and place. So yeah, I think that makes the puzzle also really interesting because it has something of everything.
Yeah, it looks like, oh, well, it's just like 6 or 7 origami balls. They'll all be the same, but they're actually folded
Yes.
quite differently. And so then, and how the photograph is taken, what you can work on a gradient on one. And like you said, the pick and place for the brown and orange ball is very true. And the
Yeah.
sizes are different. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
astute observation.
What walk me through a little bit about what you were thinking when this came out of the wrapping. Like, were you initially excited? Is this the kind of thing that you gravitate towards? Like what was the initial, here's the thing you're going to be working on for the next chunk of time?
I think my initial thought was that it's hard, especially because the two balls on the bottom, like the brown one and the orange one, look very indistinct and pretty dark. And I was like, ah. But actually thinking about it and also doing the puzzle, I feel like it suits me very well. And I'm like, this kind of pull a section and just finish it and then do the next thing is exactly my type of puzzling. So I think it's, I actually very much like the puzzle, and also it was fun putting it together. So yeah.
And it is quite pretty. We do have a question in chat from Isa who wants to know, for Kati, when a section is difficult, what do you do?
I think it depends. First of all, if I feel like I don't have enough pieces or there might be more pieces in the pile, I try to do another pull and search for the missing pieces. If I have the feeling that there are not any pieces left in the pile, I try to move on to something else. And I think also I did this on this puzzle, thinking about it. Because when I started to do the blue and green ball, I noticed, okay, feel like I'm getting stuck here. So I'm doing the this very colorful ball in the center because it has so bright colors. And then when I got stuck there, I moved on to the green and blue ball back. So I switched between those two balls, and every time I came back to the other section, I felt like, oh, I'm putting in pieces because I'm seeing things again. So this also helps, like just focusing on something else and then come back to it.
I think that's really, yeah, that's a very good point. And I puzzle like that too. I think if you take time to just look at something else for a second and then are able to come back to it, you do notice things that you didn't see before. So knowing when to abandon a project and look at something else and come back is a skill that I think you just have to develop over time.
Yeah. And also, I think I'd rather do it quicker than later because you tend to waste much time on getting stuck on things that you might just abandon and come back to later.
I think that might actually be a point that a lot of people are curious about, is that their definitions of stuck might be a little different from a high-level puzzler's definition of stuck. So what does stuck feel like or look like to you?
That's a very good question. I think this also depends on the image. Because I know an image is easy, then I will feel like, okay, it's time to abandon this quicker because I know I can do things faster. I think every time I feel like I could be faster, it's kind of the feeling stuck, or just moving around pieces and not feeling like I'm making any progress.
So kind of as soon as your brain goes, I could be doing something better with my time, you just go and do it.
I actually think as soon as my brain starts thinking, it's a sign to, okay, I'm not fully just doing the puzzle. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
When you start thinking, that's when it's time to move on.
Also, Kiara and I have the rule, as soon as you start thinking about shape sorting, you do the shape sort. So maybe that's just the go-to. As soon as you think about something, do it.
Yeah, I think that's a solid strategy for any puzzle.
Oh wow! And I know we're I'm taking a quick look at the clock here. We're getting ready to cross the 57-minute line here, and we have almost 24 finishers so far, or sorry, we've had 38 finishers so far out of the 62 in this particular round. I know that we have a lot of the sub 50 group in here. Is it sometimes difficult whenever you know that you're a very fast puzzler to suddenly run into one that has a pretty decent lag time? Like, you're used to working in like the 35 that and under
Mhm.
kind of range. Does it
Mhm.
ever feel uncomfortable whenever you run into a more difficult puzzle that just by default knocks your time a little bit further?
No, I don't think so. Um, Probably because I don't feel like I'm defining the how the puzzle felt by the time. Um, so I don't really care about the end result. It's just about the feeling during the puzzle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you usually look at the clock when you puzzle, or is that
No,
something that you? Yeah,
never, never.
yeah.
I
I
also
think that's
think like
something.
it doesn't change anything. Like I can't go faster knowing that whatever time is already like passed. And also like I feel like it's just adding more pressure and more things your brain has to think about. So no, I don't do it.
Mhm. And puzzling is such a mental sport, anyways, that if you look at the clock and then you psych yourself out by, say, "Oh, I'm faster than I thought," or "Oh, I'm slower than I thought,"
Mm,
then that can just play with you in a way that we don't need
yeah,
any more stress when we're
yeah,
in the middle of a
exactly.
puzzle.
Yeah.
I've talked with a lot of puzzlers that Mari and I coach, and one of the most difficult things is trying to get people to put blinders up, so that way they focus on just what they're
Mm,
doing. Like
mm,
sprinters, you're in your lane, no other lane matters, right? Like
mm.
that's kind of the thought process. Do you find it easier to focus on your puzzling when you're doing online competitions and it's just you in your room versus being at an event where there's lots of other people and other distractions around?
Very good question. I actually don't know. What I know for sure is that I'm faster in in-person competitions. Um, but the thing is, at home, I can't really like get into that full zone of puzzling as fast as I can because it's just like too comfortable here. um, so I think that kind of focus I have better like in in-person competitions. But still, it's a lot of work to blend out the other competitors and just focus on yourself. So I think I would assume that for most people it's harder having the others sitting next to you. Um, and I'm very happy that I have like my strategies to just focus on myself and yeah,
And while it
No.
can be more stressful in-person competitions, that adrenaline, like you say, is so hard to replicate when you're in your home and
yeah,
you're comfortable and you don't have people right next to you. So while it
mm,
might be a little chiller, you just can't get that same sort of mindset as when you're in a contest in person.
yes.
I'm kind of curious because there's a little bit of a tradition, Kati, with you and some of the EJJs. Do you have an immediate train you need to catch or a taxi you got to run to right now? Like that's kind of a, a running theme.
No, actually tonight I'm just chilling in my apartment and I don't have to catch a train or anything. So I am very calm.
I
Also,
will
I didn't
say
come from a train. I
that's always good. I was gonna say when I did this puzzle, I had a meeting. I did it 2 hours before a meeting, and I had
mhm.
finished with 5 minutes to go before I had to go. So
Oh,
that's probably the closest I've gotten to replicate the pressure when you actually have a hard deadline that you can't avoid trains
mhm,
or
mhm.
buses or meetings.
Oh wow. Well, Kati, I just want to I just want to say thank you so much for all that you did. Do you have any shout outs or cheers that you want to give to the puzzle world before we let you on to your next adventure?
Yeah, like I was at the singing competition that Fruity organized on the weekend, and it was actually very great. I had a very great time. So shout out to Fruity for organizing, and also to all my friends who have been hanging out with me. It was a nice event, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
That
Thank you
sounds
so much
great.
for the
Thank you for
time,
having
and
me.
congratulations again on your finish.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Congrats. Somebody in the chat saying Kati is good vibes. I agree
Hmm.
wholeheartedly. That's Kati is just a wonderful human being.
That is
I want to grow
Jessica
up to be just like her.
So true. That is Jessica Henderson, EJJ participant, and also the artist of recent EJJ puzzle herself. So Lots of really exciting, cool new designs in the EJJ puzzle creation world. So cool to see everyone's different art style, whether it's photographs or drawings or all the different kinds of puzzles that we have.
Yeah, I'm really excited to just see the variety of art styles coming across and what people are interested in. I never would have thought about using a picture of origami balls, and I might not be using the right terminology there, but these origami shapes as the impetus for a puzzle image for people to work on. But it is so wonderfully technical what everybody's having to work through, and we're getting ready to cross here the hour and 3 minute line. We just passed it, and I know a lot of these puzzlers are absolutely cooking here, trying to get this done in the time limit. Everybody's doing a great job. I know we have lots of people getting ready to come in on the close. We might be able to clear the room here, folks. My
I,
favorite thing, when everybody clears the room.
I hope so. I hope so. I know we do have Vesna with Puzzling Happiness on YouTube, who is here, who is a member of the 50 Plus Club, but is live streaming this puzzle. So I definitely think she'll be able to finish for sure. We're around the hour mark now and sort of seeing where she's at in her puzzle. So I think we have a strong likelihood that we'll be able to clear the room.
You can see here, Thule coming into the final 15 pieces or so. In the lower left, Carlos Dura also closing this out. Tammy McLeod, one of the fast U.S. speed puzzlers, cruising into the end here. A Guinness World Record holder in speed puzzling, showing us how it's done, how to finish these up. And Christina R. in the upper left closing this out as well, getting those last couple of pieces in and hitting the buzzer. Very, very well done.
This is a way maybe to create those competition vibes in your room. Somebody in chat says, I was puzzling along with the EJJ participants today and just finished my New York postcard in under 60 minutes. Thank you guys for bringing the competition vibes right into my living room. So pull up an EJJ and just have that up there so that you can feel some pressure while you're puzzling.
You're welcome, and apologies for the shot of adrenaline that happens. So. Oh, wow.
Mary Andrea getting very close, working on that last brown and orange ball up in the corner. We've got quite a few puzzlers on screen now who are so close. They've got maybe 10 to 25 pieces left, depending on who it is and what they're working on. Looks like Thule just finished. Congratulations. Apologies for the lag. I think I'm a little bit behind.
And that's, yeah, the YouTube stream is a little bit lower. I think we're going to be able to pull up our next interview for a moment here. Robert, are you on? Can you? There's always a little bit of a Ouija board moment when we bring people on. Are you with us? Can you hear us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hey, there you are, Robert.
Yes.
Good evening. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Wow.
I'm doing all right. I was very happy with the time tonight. Not least because I managed to injure myself yesterday doing sport. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to compete tonight or whether it was going to work but fortunately, thanks to my stand-up desk and a bit of luck and a bit of rest, it went really well.
Well, we're glad that you were able to compete, and best wishes as you heal up. It's never a good thing to be injured and then try and do some speed puzzling.
It's not, no, especially as it's bad timing. So I'm due to travel down to Denmark tomorrow night for the Danish nationals. So I've got 12 hours on a night train tomorrow. So it's not perfect timing, but feeling better than I did this morning anyway. So fingers crossed that's all going to be fine.
That's good. How did you feel when you first opened this puzzle and saw what the image was?
It looked tricky. It looked fun but tricky. I think I normally look at an image and give myself a kind of an idea of a time that I think will be good. So this, I think I looked at it and thought, if I'm under an hour for this, I'll be happy. And I was, so 57 something. So I was really happy when I saw the timer. I think it started okay. I think some of the balls were fairly easy to identify. So the kind of greeny blue one was quite easy to pick out. The one in the middle I found fairly easy to pick out. and then it starts to slow down. But I think at that point I realised that it's really the background are the bits that are easy to identify and work on, and not the actual origami balls themselves.
Can you tell us how you tackled the background? Because that was something as I midway through this puzzle that I noticed as well, but I sort of had a lot of things already in place before I realized that. Were you tackling the background earlier than that?
So I think, yeah, so I did the blue green ball. I think I did the middle one and the one at the top, so the blue yellow one. And then I just had a kind of sea of orange and yellow, and at that point I think I finished up the border, because there's actually a really nice, the kind of background has a really nice gradient. It's really distinctive from all the way from kind of left to right. And having done the border, it was kind of I could really see that, okay, I can see exactly which pieces are going to go over to the left, exactly which are going to go to the right. And it was quite easy to put in those kind of the pieces around the balls, and then kind of work on the inners rather than trying to I think it was, and at that point it was far easier to sort the three big balls out and work on those.
We were talking with Kati earlier, and we were sort of having some discussions about how whether you started from the inside and worked out or from the outside and worked in, if the outline was helpful for you. And Kati also mentioned that each ball was sort of different. Did you change your approach for each ball as you did?
I think that they all had distinctive elements. So with the top left one, it's got the kind of fish and the fish, and those kind of were easy to pull out. So I did that bit first. I think the bottom left had the kind of gold figure, and they all had certain colors and certain. So the one in the top right with the kind of lots of triangles, it doesn't look as distinctive when it's put together, but when those kind of the difference between the oranges and there's some kind of slightly lighter ones and some slightly darker ones, that difference really kind of comes across when you've got a pile of pieces more than it does when you put them all together.
Yeah, for sure. Jim, you have any questions for Robert?
A million questions, because it's so cool to watch you puzzle. Tell me a little bit about we were talking with some people earlier about how they view puzzling. Do you tend to think of yourself more as a cerebral puzzler or more of an instinctual puzzler?
I think that it's something I've been working on. So I've tried to change because of experiences, particularly with busy puzzles. I tend to be more in kind of instinctive. I think that just doesn't work with busy puzzles. And I did a couple of tests where I would do purely pick and place, so out of the box, kind of old style, Kristen style. And I found I was doing them quicker that way than because I'm generally quite chaotic and looking everywhere. That just doesn't work for busy puzzles. So I've made recently I've made much more effort to kind of look at the box, keep looking at the box. So tonight, again, it was you could tell the position of certain pieces, and whereas in the past I would have just been frantically looking around for where they would fit. So it's something I've been working on ahead of competition season to kind of be better at looking at the image and using a bit of a kind of pick and place. Taking inspiration from Tobias and all of the great Swedish tradition.
I'm taking notes, Robert. I'm taking notes on this strategy. I'm going to be doing this once we get off this call.
Yeah, it's so cool. I've talked with a lot of puzzlers, and the thing that I've always been struck by is how many of them are starting to open up their toolbox of how they want to puzzle and what they want to use certain tactics for. And we're seeing less of a this is the only kind of puzzler I am, and more of the I use this and this. So it's I was wondering if that was if you were using that as an extra tool on this one.
Yeah, and it's also made me notice things like today. I realised the other day I was doing kind of very much a pick and place puzzle, and I realised that the puzzle stands that they're kind of very vertical angle. it's quite an effort to kind of look between the puzzle and the box. So this week I've made my own puzzle kind of stand, which holds it much kind of flatter. It's much less effort to kind of move your eyes between the box and the puzzle. It's just like noticing those kind of like those little ergonomic things that could really make a difference over the.
Yeah. Do you want the box top to be at a 37-degree angle, or do you need it further back, closer to 15 to like get the eye? Just I love it.
Yeah. I'm sure there. I was chatting to. I'm sure there's maths you could use, but for now it's like, yeah, that feels about right.
Well, Robert, one of the big theme for today that we were asking was, should speed puzzling be an Olympic sport? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to anyway because it's kind of funny for me.
I think I was listening to the introduction. I think I'd kind of go along with most of what I heard there. So probably not. I think it would open the door for if you put speed puzzling, there's a million other things that could be in it, which have a kind of a similar feel to them. It seems unlikely. I think someone else mentioned some of the sports that have been in recently, kind of breakdancing and stuff, do feel a bit kind of out of place, and maybe I'm a bit of a purist and enjoy the kind of the athletics and the traditional Olympic sports more.
What sort of? Oh, go ahead, Anna.
I just want to jump in real quick. One of the other submissions that we didn't get to during the earlier in the competition was from Meineke, who was saying maybe eventually, but I think there should be more varied mind sport games with disciplines like chess, draughts, bridge, Go, Sudoku, logic puzzles, etc. There's an international mind sports organization, IMSA, so perhaps getting recognized by them would be a good first step, which I think was an interesting thing if you put it into the Olympics, having a sort of separate section of less, quote, traditional sports or more mind-focused sports might be a good segue into getting speed puzzling into the Olympics.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've got a nephew who competes with like Rubik's Cube, for example, and that feels like it's in a similar kind of similar area to to speed puzzling maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to kind of throw a curveball. What adjustment to speed puzzling do you think it would take for you to be convinced that it could be an Olympic sport? Like, I think it would be really fun if you had to push the table 100 meters and do a 100-piece puzzle at the same time.
When you said that, I was just thinking, yeah, maybe if you had to like run a kilometer between every 100 pieces or something, or
make it like the combine, or like the Nordic track, that kind of thing. Only instead of a rifle, you just like flip out a 300 piece.
The biathlon.
Yeah, there you go.
The triathlon, after when you finish cycling, you do a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, I think running or swimming or doing something in between the puzzle. That's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
maybe that's the starting point. Is rather than a whole new sport, we just sprinkle it into one of the other ones that's already around a little bit more.
I'm expecting to see that on the next round of EJJs. It's 20 press ups after every
Or you have to it's like weightlifting. You have to pick up however many puzzles you've bought in the past year.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, struggle with that one.
No, thank you. How else have you been training for your upcoming competition that you're working on?
So I got some tips from. I had some time with Amelia, so kind of had to like video analyze, a bit of coaching, and it's amazing how just a couple of points, a couple of small alterations around kind of space management and this kind of thing just make a difference, it doesn't take much, I don't think, to kind of shave a few minutes off, and so apart from lots of puzzles, I think the World Series is going to be the tricky one to train for, because there's so many so many different things. I've got a few of the round ones, I've got some panorama ones. I think with the nationals, yeah, it's just lots of Ravensburgers and having trying to get an idea of what you think might come up. But the World Series is going to be a tricky one, especially because the categories are quite vague, fairly vague as well. Gradient, there'll be a gradient in there somewhere, but not quite sure what that will be. So once a couple of the nationals are out of the way, it's time to start getting ready for that.
Which round are you most looking forward to in that, and which round are you least looking forward to?
I think least looking forward to probably is the round one. I just haven't done many. So I did the circle of colours. Did my first one kind of yesterday. Thought, better do at least one just in case they come up in the nationals. But yeah, I just haven't done many, and I'm not at the point where I kind of really enjoy them yet. I'd say probably the gradient. Most looking forward to gradient and the mystery one. I think are the two I'm most looking forward to.
Well, I have no doubt you'll be able to crush it, especially with how much progress you've already been making and how much effort you're planning on putting in. Like I'm really excited for you, not just for that, but also for all the national events. Like how many different events do you have coming up, Robert?
So I've got Denmark this weekend, then a couple of weeks after it's Sweden, and then a couple of weekends for World Series it's Finland. So I'm doing the Nordic competitions. I don't think I'll get to Norway, but doing the others. And then I keep seeing new ones coming out that are tempting me a bit later on. So the Dutch ones come out. Oh yeah, that could be fun. So we'll see. Have to see how many I manage to get around to.
Well, we'll let you get on to preparing for all the things and recovering your hand and just being a wonderful person. Do you have any shout outs you want to give to puzzle people before we let you on your way?
Big shout out to all the Puzzle Rush people out there. So all of the Swedes, and all the people who I'm going to meet for the first time in the next few weeks. So lots of people I know from online, but very loads that I've never met in person. So the next few weeks are going to be a fantastic chance to meet loads of these people who I've spoken to a lot but never met in person. So really looking forward to that.
That's
awesome. Good luck, Robert, and thank you for taking the time to chat with us. It was lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. See you soon.
Congratulations again.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
As Robert heads off, we're coming up on the hour. We just crossed the hour and 20-minute line. We have 60 finishers ready to roll, and I think we have Vesna wrapping up this one as quickly as she can. We are all rooting for you. Keep on pushing.
Great job, Vesna. She's got a YouTube Puzzling Happiness, which I'm sure she's live streaming on right now. Not to take people away from the EJJ, but if you want to hear Vesna and Jan's commentary while she works on that, great YouTube. Love to hop over there and see how she's doing.
It's wonderful. Well, I think we taking a good look there. Vesna has almost the entire lower half of this puzzle built out. I really like how she decided to go for the portrait mode in this. So the short side close to her, the long side sort of perpendicular to her, and that's going to make it where has easy access on the right hand side in order to get to that orange section. We know that those gave some of our other competitors a little bit of trouble, but I am confident that Vesna is going to be able to blast through this last little bit because she is focused, she is strong, and she's a fantastic puzzler. And look at just how she's already getting those bright pieces in right away as she starts working on that. I'm super excited for her.
Yeah, she just made some major progress with that pink and orange one in the corner. She had a section in the middle that she was trying to connect, and she was able to figure out how to attach it. And so now she can build off of that and keep pushing out and wrapping up that one. And then she'll just have the one brown and orange one up in the corner. So quite close, and she's making good progress. She's using her hand as sort of a sorting board, got all of her pieces in it, and she's sort of looking to see where she can connect pieces.
Yeah, and it's so difficult at this point to stay focused. Fatigue starts setting in. after about the 30-minute line. So being able to keep pace and keep puzzling after an hour and 20 minutes is really, really phenomenal. And you know, they make it look easy. It is absolutely not. And Vesna's doing a great job here. And Vesna, you actually have some cheers in the chat coming from Lisa Bay saying, "Go Vesna, love the capybara." I agree. Capybaras are great creatures.
Also, a quick read for our top 10. We had Christian, Kati, Yagoda, Kristen, Victor, Lenka, Hannah, Rachel, Franzi, and Inga in our top 10. And I believe we have our next guest right here. I can see the origami balls in question on the camera of Kiran. Hello, can you hear us?
Hi there.
Awesome.
Yeah, these are the stars of the show.
Yes, they are. Wow.
Did you make those?
I made them a long time ago. Most of these, I think, are more than 10 years old. They've just been sitting on my shelf for a long time. And yeah, Dad had an idea to make a puzzle out of them. And I was like, yeah, sure, you go ahead. Yeah.
Before we get into the questions, can both of you sort of introduce yourselves so that our viewers know who you are?
Okay, so I'm Kiran Fletcher. We're in Dublin. I've been speed puzzling since end of 2024. And
yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm Kevin. I'm his son. And yeah, I did this origami a while ago. I don't do speed puzzling. It doesn't really scratch the itch for me, but I do like to talk about it with Dad a lot and all the things he does and the strategies and everything. Yeah.
I think there's a kindred spirit with Jim.
Kevin, has your dad tried to talk you into speed puzzling at all?
Not particularly. I think he knows that, yeah, it's just not for me, just doing it itself, you know. But he's perfectly happy to talk at me about it and with me about it.
He does a good job of pretending to listen.
Well, and just having somebody that's there and willing to be supportive is a huge boon, whether they're doing the same thing or not. That's wonderful. And the fact that you guys, that the two of you found a way to come together and make such a cool image. Tell me a little bit about the thought process. Like, how did you come up with this idea? Did you just like wake up and went, "That's the thing"?
No. So Michelle put this call out to go, you know, we're kind of finding it hard to find puzzles people haven't made. And so if you have photos or illustrations, you know, so I went, well, what can I do? Because the EJJ has been like one of the huge things in my puzzling journey. And so I really wanted to be able to give something back. And then it's a question, you look around the house, you go, what can I take a photograph of? That would be interesting for other people. And lots of things are interesting for me, but would be terrible puzzle. So yeah, we came on these, and there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of texture. And so that was the starting point.
Our first draft, like our first attempt, had it at a sort of like 3/4 angle, almost like this. And we got the feedback, it was almost like too busy of like when they're like one in front of another like that. So.
And I didn't really want a white background, so we had origami paper on the background, and it just made it
too busy. Oh,
too dark.
Yeah.
So then I sent a photo to Michelle, and she came back with some feedback that, yeah, why don't you simplify it? And so we did, and it was probably about 2 days of photos went into that image. And I have to say, then I think it was Kati who talked about the gradient background. Eric Casper added that in post-processing.
Oh, interesting. So that was not a lighting thing on your end. That was something that was added after the fact.
No, I've checked the photo I sent, and I just can't see the photo. So Michelle, I asked, and Michelle said, "Yeah, I got it in post processing." So it's a real collaborative effort. It does, I think, really help the image, and the makeability of it.
Yeah, as a participant, thank you, Michelle's husband, for adding that in post. It was a big help.
Yes.
Can you, Kevin, do you have more origami balls like this? Like, was there processes of like, which ones do we include, or
We-
are these all of them?
So we do have a couple more, yeah. They were chosen to kind of make them good puzzles, and also to not be too similar to each other.
Mhm.
So I've got this one here.
Oh,
You can
wow.
see
Oh yeah,
there's
there we
another
go.
one. Has more of the kind of pattern paper, but it's a very similar color scheme to this black and red one already. I think that was the reason why we didn't go for this one, and it's very busy. What else do we have? There's this one here. This I think is my favorite one. So this
Very cool.
is like, it's kind of a rose kind of shaped piece, each one. It's kind of hard to see with the dark purple, but with rose patterned paper as well. I like it a lot, but it's kind of hard to see the details on camera. So we didn't include it because of that. There's a couple more ones upstairs.
Yeah.
A lot of them, because like I said, these are pretty old. A lot of them have been banged around a lot, or these ones have strategically the not faded side turned towards the camera. Yeah.
And the other thing, the first thing I did when I actually got the puzzle was check the image to see, can you see the dust? Not the puzzle dust, it's the dust. Yes, some of them still show it.
Yeah, they definitely do.
That's so funny. How did you get into creating these? Because they're so intricate and beautiful, but they're also, now that I'm seeing them on camera, much bigger than I thought they would be.
Yeah, they're pretty large, aren't they? Yeah, so I think I got into origami. I think the first book I had was from the library or something, some book fair or something like that. It was very simple things. And then,
and then it's like, as a parent, you're interested in a thing. I have ideas for birthdays and Christmas, and let me give you more of the thing.
One of the things that happened was our auntie and uncle had an exchange student from Japan come over, and when he went back, he left behind an origami book. He just kind of left it there, and they said, "Oh, Kevin, you're into origami, aren't you?" And I couldn't read any of the text, of course, but the diagrams are pretty universal. So I could got there. That was like one level up of complexity, and then you start looking for stuff online. This specific kind of origami is called kusudama, which is essentially what it means is it's this kind of origami where you make kind of one piece several times over and over and then kind of slot them into one another. So this ball is 30 pieces of paper, each one.
I'm both confused as to how that is only 30 pieces of paper, and yet also how is it not one piece of paper? Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
So it's a very fun situation to be making it, in that the general formula is you'll have like a sort of square or a rectangle, and it has kind of two flaps that stick out and two pockets for other flaps to stick into. And then you kind of tuck them into one another as they go around. And if you do it with that kind of continuous pattern, they all kind of form together and into one kind of continuous shape. It is often a lot more flimsy until you get the last one in, and then they all start to kind of properly support each other. This one is like you can like properly toss this one around, but some of the other ones are a bit more fragile. This one is really, this one's pretty sturdy as well. It just kind of depends on how locked in the flaps are into the pockets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So cool. What was it like to get the puzzle shipped to you and to open it up and see that it was your image and to do it?
Oh, it's just amazing. Yeah, it's just a super feeling. And I think also to have people compete with it, because you can go onto my Ravensburger, you can, there's various sites where you can get your own puzzle made. And so almost isn't the interesting thing. It's that, it was a collaboration of us and Michelle and Eric, and also that it's in competition. It's just, amazing.
I just want to call out that Vesna just finished.
Yay!
I think they need to hit the app timer in order to truly stop the thing. But they got it in just over a minute, an hour 32. Congratulations, Vesna. That's a great job.
Well done.
So my first time doing it was an hour 43.
Me too, Kiran.
I opened it and I sorted out the edges, and then I started going for, I think, the blue and yellow star, and I thought, oh my god, what have I created?
Were you expecting it to be somewhat difficult whenever you were making it? Were you thinking like, okay, what's something unusual and what is something different that will throw people for a loop? Or were you thinking like this will just be kind of a middle of the road?
I think one of the things we didn't realize when we were making it was that within each of the different balls, it's really hard to place anything, that it all looks very similar. And like we
did put in, like, we put the dragon in here and the koi fish to break up the yellow. And so we kind of had some thoughts of, this is too much of one color. Let's actually, break it up. I don't think we got into the complexity of, that'll be really hard. We thought there's lots of different colors, there's different textures, people will be able to pull them out, we'll be all right.
Well, I think it comes across that way. Like, so many puzzlers had a great run with this. And I don't think it's so mind-boggling difficult that people like stress themselves out about it. I think it just has chunks of it that are really interesting to figure out how to solve. And you all found a really good balance between the ends of the two ends of that spectrum of, is this a grind to be a grind, or is this so straightforward that I don't have to think about it? I think this is, for me, someone who sees a lot of puzzles and watches people puzzle a lot, this is a fantastic competition puzzle, because it asks people to do so many different skills inside of it. I'm sorry, I'm fangirling for a moment. I know we're supposed to be interviewing you, but I needed to keep that phrase onto you all, because it's just absolutely stunning.
It was challenging, but not impossible in the best way.
Yeah, I find there are difficult puzzles that I never want to see again, and there are difficult puzzles that I go, well, that was hard. I can do better on that one, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, during this this competition, there have been so many ideas that I want to try and do this puzzle again and approach it differently and see how that can change things. So
I really like that. How does it feel to be to give back to the puzzling community in a way by making this, and sort of inspiring so many other puzzlers to just have a wonderful time and put up their best effort? Tell us a little bit of how it feels to just like be immortalized in a way in other people's puzzle journey.
It's a great feeling. I'm not going to set the world alight with my times, but it's it's a real community, and everyone does what they can. Amelia does coaching. Jim, you do you do commentating. You kind of the second half of Mari's hive mind. And like I said, Michelle has really made it possible for me to do speed puzzling at home and to be able to give something back. I am by nature a supporter, and to be able to support, Michelle and EJJ in this way and the whole community. It's great. I love it. I'm starting to think of, if there would be something else that I can take a photo of.
Well, that was what I was going to ask is, do you have plans to try to make new images for other puzzles? Like, are you thinking just photography? Or are you going to branch out into like cartooning? Like, what does the future hold for your puzzle image making?
Does
I don't
Kevin
think-
have any more hobbies that you can photograph?
I don't think anybody would want to see my cartooning. But I am going to walk on the Camino to Santiago de Compostela in April and May. And so in my, I will have a part of my brain reserved for it. That would make an interesting picture. So
Love
there
that.
might be a collage, there might be, we'll see what turns up on the way.
If you get the perfect landscape photo on
Yeah.
your walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, have you thought about making more or different origamis that could be photographed for puzzle images? Like, is this going to be a ongoing collaboration for puzzle images?
Yeah, so like I said, a lot of these are super old. They're like 10 years old. I haven't done this in a while. But getting it out and photographing it again, it was like, oh yeah, I could maybe do some more of these. Like we do still have some of these other ones left that we haven't done yet. That's a kind of curly one.
That's amazing.
Right, and that one's just post-it notes.
Oh wow.
But yeah, we could see if we could do something together with like some of these old ones and then make a couple of new ones specifically for the puzzles.
Well, it would have to be a secret.
Yeah, so so no. The official answer is no.
Except to Michelle.
Yeah.
We won't tell anyone.
Yeah, hi Kiran and Kevin. I'm not ending the interview here because I'm just really enjoying this. I just wanted to let you know I've turned the timer off, but I know there are more questions to be asked. And yeah, I've just been sitting here with the camera off and just smiling the whole time. So it's just been really fun. Yeah, Kevin, I'd love to know, have you noticed any changes in your dad since he started speed puzzling?
There's certainly a lot of changes around the house. So there's two uplighter lamps that live in the sitting room here now. There's a lot more puzzles that live in various places in the house. Yeah, about Dad himself, I don't know. It's something that we do talk about when doing a puzzle a second time and seeing, how much did the time improve and that kind of thing, and knowing what's a good puzzle or what's a time that you're happy with for a difficult puzzle versus a time you're not happy with on an easier one. Those kinds of conversations. It's something I find very kind of fascinating, all these just kind of being competitive in general. But I have really enjoyed those kind of conversations of, what makes Dad tick and that kind of thing, of what he's kind of aiming for with the puzzles, and to be able to celebrate with him when he does well.
Oh, that's great. Kiran, have you noticed any differences in yourself?
Definitely, yes. There's a real purpose, for speed puzzling. Casual puzzling is very different, and I guess I'm at a transitional point in my life, for a couple of reasons. My wife passed away 18 months ago. and then I kind of got into speed puzzling after that. I'm retiring next month, and so hence the Camino. And
Congrats.
but
Yeah.
thank you. But yeah, it's part of that transition in, well, who am I as as the person I am now, who am I becoming? And this is definitely part of that journey. I, I had all these great plans my goal was to get to the World Championships last year. And I read it on the box when I got it, and I went, well, that's ancient history. And it didn't happen. Yeah, there is a transition. Actually, on that, the reason I didn't make it was because I had a colonoscopy that showed up a 2-centimeter lump in my bowel that they removed, and then there were complications. And, I was really sad not to get there. But the pathology was this wasn't cancer, but it could be cancer in 6 months. So I could be sitting here with cancer, and I'm not. And I'm happy to take the inaccuracy on the box for that, but also to say I think as men we're often slow about getting our bits checked out, and so don't be slow. I think the impetus for me was I found something. I went to the doctor, because of my wife's experience. It's like, I need you to tell me what's going on, like now, without waiting. And often as guys, we wait until we can't wait any longer. So, so Jim, Zach, Adam, all the guys. I think women's screening programs are more prevalent, but for men, don't leave it. There's few enough of us, and we want to all be staying around in the community.
Absolutely, and I think it's a really wonderful thing to remind people to take care of themselves and just get checkups, because like the doc's there to help check what's under the hood and make sure everything keeps working the way that it should. And I'm really excited that you're here and you're healthy and things are going well. I'm sorry that you had to miss Worlds. I was really looking forward to getting to hang out with you a little bit there, but we will at some point find time to hang out, because I just think you are the bee's knees and one of the coolest people on the planet and in the puzzling community. And I just think of the world of you. What sort of puzzling events do you have to look forward to that you're excited about coming up?
So 7th of March is the first Irish puzzle competition, which I'm really looking forward to. So Emma Quirk and Siobhan Quinn are organizing, so they're not taking part, which gives hope to everyone else.
You got a shot, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found out watching the UK now, or the Cardiff Championship, that Rachel Chambers is coming over to help with that. There's only 30 tables, so it's a small event, but it's our first one, and we're working towards a nationals in after Worlds sometime. Then the Belgian nationals, 21st of March. I'm going to. My wife was from Belgium, so I have an affinity towards that, especially with the language. And I was at the Dutch nationals last year, but they're in June, and I might be still in the Camino. So I said, okay, we'll go to the Belgian ones, and the UK nationals as well in April.
Awesome. That's
So
a full lineup.
Yeah,
his calendar is pretty booked full.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great problem to have. Do you? This is might be a little bit of a tangent, but I have to do the nerd thing. Do you speak any Belgian?
Yes. So I speak Flemish. Well,
okay.
So Flemish is several dialects of Dutch. So written, it's the same language, but it's a dialect of Dutch. So the northern part of Belgium speaks Flemish. The southern part speaks French. A very small region speaks German, and Brussels is officially bilingual. And in practice, more people speak French in Brussels than speak Flemish. But before we got married, I did a 2-month intensive language course in Ghent. Half of my wedding speech was in Dutch. And,
you want to make sure you say "I do" right in the appropriate. That's the important bit. That's really lovely. When you're puzzling, do you ever find yourself thinking in one language more than the other?
I think I pretty much always think in English.
Okay.
But if I'm over there for long enough, then it comes more naturally. Kevin, interestingly, has a job on a Dutch call center.
Yeah. So I learned Dutch as a kid from mom and dad, of course. And it was good enough then that I got this job answering phones in Dutch. So I'm decent enough at it, yeah. But it's still very much, it's kind of a second language for me. I'm thinking in English the whole time, and then have to turn it on for the work. Yeah.
That's so impressive. I'm always jealous of people that are multilingual. My brain is more math science based, and as many times as I've tried very earnestly to learn other languages, it just slides off of my brain like Teflon. It just doesn't stick. So extremely jealous of your ability to be able to do that.
I think I'm a computer scientist. Science, logic is my thing, and languages were my worst subject in school until I kind of rocked up in France to visit some Christian community and hitched a lift, and this French couple picked me up and took me home and fed me coffee and apricot tart and interrogated me in French. And I went, oh, I really, really want to be able to speak more French. And so it becomes about, I want to communicate. I'd like to be good, I'd like to have the grammar correct, but actually it's all about, I want to communicate with people.
So what I'm hearing, Jim, is you don't have any excuses anymore. You can be a math and science guy and learn languages. Just gotta want it.
Well, apparently I need to be semi-kidnapped by French people and offered snacks.
That could be arranged.
Yeah, maybe that's what we got to do. Maybe that's the next service is just speed puzzling, kidnapped French food binges.
We can arrange something at the Worlds.
Worlds is going to be so interesting next year. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
It is. It's like less days, more people. I think it's 400 tables per event. So that'll be really interesting, and not in the dome.
Yeah, which I think is a sad thing from a nostalgia factor, but I do think that it's probably been a long time coming. It outgrew the dome a while ago, and especially with the weather this past year, it just was not good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see how it gets on and what it shapes up to be and look like. And just the last couple of years, the landscape of speed puzzling has changed in so many different ways, right? From like small little organizational steps to like what individual puzzlers are doing. Between the two of you, what have you noticed as being the things that have changed the most for the better in speed puzzling? And I know, Kevin, you kind of hear it second-handedly, but like you're part of the conversation that happens with your dad a lot, so I figure it comes up.
I think for me, the thing I've really noticed over the last year is there's so much more choice in what to go to. You know, it's not just Michelle, it's, you know, lots of other events. There's marathons, there's all the different country nationals, there's the European Championships. There's, you know, in the US, there's, you know, there's Portland's, there's the Winter Carnival, there's the state championships are on. And people have more choice, which means there's less impetus to go to a particular competition. And I think that also impacts Worlds, because it's, you know, if you've been before, it's one of a number of competitions that you could go to. And you know, you don't have to say negative things about Worlds. It's just there's so much choice that, well, I've done that, you know, let me do other things. Whereas before, like a year ago or a year and a half ago, there was a lot less choice. So a lot of people went to all of the things they could.
And I think that's what's most exciting about the World Series too, is because now we have multiple choices as far as like what a world event looks like. You can have the World Championships and now the World Series, which is offering not only another place for puzzlers to go at an international level, but different kinds of competitions. It's not just the 500-piece Ravensburger anymore. We're expanding what a puzzle contest looks like. And Michelle's been doing that with EJJs too, and offering different styles of puzzles and mini marathons and pairs relays and no box contests. So it's expanding what it means to be a puzzle contest, which I think is great, because like sort of limiting it into this one sort of format is okay, but it gets a little old after a while.
I think it's great that they published the different rounds beforehand so people can practice, you know, so Michelle can sell out of Gibson puzzles.
Michelle's like, yeah, I did.
Well, it also makes it where the community can grow naturally rather than being funneled all to like one spot, right? Like, there's so many people that I've talked to where they make friends at Worlds and then they never see them at other events, even if they're in the same country, because there's just not those other events. And now that they're popping up, there's more opportunity to like, hey, we can all get together and, you know, do something this weekend that's speed puzzling related. And it's not just being at a distance while doing something. You can actually be together and still build that community in smaller ways. So I've been really, really impressed with that end of things.
Yeah, well, we're coming up to almost the 2-hour mark, and yes, I'm just going to wrap it up. But thank you so much, Kiran and Kevin, for submitting this photo, for taking the time to make different options, taking away the origami, the patterned background as a start. But yeah, just also being willing to try different things, because actually, yes, the original image was taken from side on like this, and it's just, yeah, really fun to hear how you tried different setups to get it right. And yeah, we're just really happy to bring this to the EJJ speed puzzling community and have fun. Yeah, just was a really fun interview. And yeah, thanks Hannah for your first co-hosting gig with the EJJ.
And I loved it.
Yes, you're welcome back anytime. And yeah, as always, thanks Jim for being here, and all our viewers on YouTube, and for commenting along, and we hope you all enjoyed the puzzle. I just want to make one quick announcement. The next competition is officially on Monday, but we are doing a special inserted competition, which we will be announcing properly tomorrow. The Colombians have finally received their International Puzzle Day packages. Finally, so we have around 40 or 50 Colombians who will be joining us. We're going to do the best that we can. Of course, everybody knows what the puzzle is, but we're going to try and give them a chance to race it anyway. They've been waiting so long for their packages, and they're just really excited for this. So on Sunday night, 1st of March at 9 p.m. Germany time, it is Euro Jigsaw Jam. We also have a few others who will be joining us, a couple from Brazil and a couple from other places who also received their packages very late. So I'll be announcing some details tomorrow, and yeah, want the Colombians to have their chance in the spotlight.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thanks everyone, and see you at the next one.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Congrats,
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Bye.